To provide incentives in a team environment, it is necessary to provide meaningful rewards. We have discussed earlier that if teamwork can be observed by an outsider, then it can be rewarded directly. In this situation, workers can be paid not only on the basis of their own output, but also on the basis of their contribution to the team. It is commonly observed in law firms and consulting firms that people who bring business to the firms are rewarded handsomely. Now, it is easy because this is something which is observable. By bringing business to the firms, they are enhancing the value of the firm, and it is observable and can be rewarded individually. However, it is much more difficult for an objective evaluator to observe teamwork in most of the production settings. As a result, the firm generally resorts to rewarding teamwork by rewarding the team itself. Free rider effects notwithstanding, firms set up compensation and other rewards that derive from team performance. There are two types of team rewards, explicit and implicit. Explicit rewards can take a number of forms. The most prevalent are team bonuses, profit sharing, and stock options. Team bonuses ought to be given when the group is small and the work is of a very short duration. For example, let's say a cricket team which has been given the task of winning the World Cup. Once the team wins the World Cup, the entire team is rewarded. The player who was most instrumental in winning the game is not given a larger share of the team bonus than other players. Again, the team consists of a relatively small number of individuals and their project is of a short duration. The team must be small for team bonuses to have any impact because free rider effects become pronounced in large teams. If a construction site has 10 workers, each worker's performance is more likely to be known to others. Each worker has some incentive to enforce a group norm of high effort on other crew members. In large groups, individual incentives vanish, as do the incentives for individuals to chastise unproductive peers. In large groups, it is more convenient to simply ignore the deviant workers. Thus, firms should provide team bonuses only when teams are small and when the output of the team is well defined. The project must also be of sufficiently short duration that the team remains largely intact over the period. A team bonus awarded, let's say, after every 20 or 10 years will not be very conducive to teamwork. Another form of team compensation is profit sharing. A profit sharing plan gives some rewards to workers based on company profits, usually in a given year. All workers do not receive the same share. Generally, the amount a given worker receives depends on his or her relative wage. A typical plan splits the profit sharing pool in proportion to the worker's base salary. It is decided on the basis of the formula that is shown here. Workers J's base salary divided by the relevant wage bill. The wage bill is defined as the sum of the base annual salaries of all workers who are in the profit sharing plan. Therefore, according to this formula, the workers with higher salaries get larger shares. Although profit sharing plans are often stated in terms of incentives, the incentive effects of such plans are likely to be limited. Because the relevant group of employees is usually large and most workers in the group do not work together, the free rider effects can be overwhelming. Japanese firms tend to use more profit sharing than American firms. A large firm like Mitsubishi produces many different products in a number of different locations. If a group of workers in one city decides to shirk, the profit sharing effects are felt by workers at all other plants because they outnumber those who did the shirking. Since workers know this, it is difficult to understand why individual workers or even small group of workers might be motivated by the profits of this very large company. Most workers have only a trivial effect on Mitsubishi's profit rate and enjoy only a trivial part of the reward that comes from higher profit. So, in the light of the discussion we had, profit sharing usually does not provide motivation for workers. What it actually does is it spreads the risk between capital owners and labor. When the firm does well, shareholders and workers do well together. When the firm does poorly, shareholders bear some of the cost, but so do workers. The fact that workers' wages are tied to company profits means that shareholders' returns do not fall by as much in downturns nor rise by as much in boom periods as they would if the worker wages were constant. The third explicit form of team compensation are stock and stock options. Stock options are given to high level managers as incentive pay because high level managers are all part of a team and individual contribution to total profit may be difficult to observe. It is sometimes argued that stock options will motivate managers to become team players. When managers own stock, it's argued, they care not only about how their activity affects their own narrowly defined output, but also how their activity affects the output of all other members of the firm. In such circumstances, managers who can take an action that will help the firm by helping another worker will be more inclined to do so. Let us first distinguish between stock and a stock option. Stock represents an ownership claim on a corporation. It entitles the owner of the stock to participate in profits of the corporation in proportion to the number of shares held. Stockholders are residual claimants, meaning thereby that they receive returns only after more senior claimants have been paid. Senior claimants include workers who must be paid their wages, debt holders whose loans must be repaid according to a predetermined schedule. Stockholders usually receive dividends quarterly as payment of profit and generally, although not always, have the right to vote on corporate matters in proportion to the number of shares that they hold. On the face of it, stock option appears to be very different from an actual share of a stock. In reality, they are quite similar. Option owners do not have claim to current profits of the firm. Instead, an owner of a call option has the right to purchase stock at some predetermined exercise or strike price, as it is called, until some date in the future. From the point of view of an employee, the stock option which we are discussing is a call option. Let the market price of the stock be X and the exercise price or strike price be K. The call option is in the money when the market price of the stock exceeds the strike price. Then a call option owner can exercise the option to buy the stock and can immediately resell it at a profit. If the market price of the stock is X and if X is greater than K, then exercising the option results in an immediate profit of X minus K. Alternatively, The call option owner can buy the stock and keep it, but he has bought something at less than its market price. If the stock price is below the exercise price, the call option is not exercised. The call option specifies that the stock can be bought at price K. But if the current market price is below K, why would anyone pay K for a share that is available for a price lower than K? They wouldn't, so the option is not exercised. Stock is, in most respects, a special case of an option. Imagine an option with an exercise price of 0. This means that at any time the option holder can exercise the option and receive a positive return. Even if the price of the share is 1 rupee, the option would be exercised, giving the holder a return of 1 rupee because he's buying it at 0 and he's selling it at 1 rupee. Since the stock price can never fall below 0, the option owner is certain to exercise the option and might as well do it at the time that it is granted. By doing this and holding the stock, the option holder can continue to receive dividends. Since stock can be thought of as a special case of an option, it is possible to ask how many options should be given to a manager and at what strike price. This question we will explore in the next video.